Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. We made it to Monday. Donald's feeling better. Lori's healing. I bet Lena's is walking better today, maybe less swollen, and her ankle too. So good. This week, let's not get injured. Let's try nobody to get injured this week. Please. Micah's yelling at me. What? What? Why are you yelling at me? All right. I got a new judge today and old judge today and Judge Fleischer today and one other judge that is escaping my brain right now, but don't worry, I have it here. You're so far. That's why you're so far. There's no way that YouTube has any servers over there, which they do. The jinx. Oh, yeah. Okay, Micah will get hurt this week, but don't worry. It's only going to be his toe. He's going to stub his toe. You want to know why? Because when you don't like a video and you watch it, you get your toe stubbed. Hi, Lacey. Let's start with the old judge, one of the older judges, one of those that we know. And love.
I don't play with wires. I get it.
Mr. Allstat, I need drug screens on.
Hit them all, Your Honor. Officer Sherrod did.
He has done them already, you say, or are you going to do them?
We've already done it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Let me get Officer Sherrod.
All right. I need a DA.
You don't need a DA. We don't need a prosecutor here.
I need somebody from the DA's office. It's worse than herding cats.
It's worse than herding cats. It's not. Trust me, I know.
I think they have some fun activity going on back in the back room, so they don't want to be in here. They want to be back there, get snacks.
If I had snacks, I wouldn't be back in here.
All right, this is the matter of Dennis Atkinson. His attorney is online with us. She's still here. Y'all be quiet, please, in the courtroom. Everybody, please be quiet in the courtroom. All right, this is the bond hearing. Apparently, Mr. Atkinson I'm familiar to some extent. He was out on bond. He spent a good bit of time in the county jail. I denied him bond several times. But the case got...
Rude, Judge. You don't throw Skittles at people when they say they need a snack? This guy is stuck between the hardest rock and the hardest hard place, and he gets no love anywhere. You'll see.
Case that is pending a jury trial kept getting delayed, and so I granted him a bond. And now he is back before me for bond in a separate charge. Ms. Faircloth, this is your motion for bond. I'll let you go first.
Thank you, Your Honor. What has happened is, as Your Honor stated, you signed an order for his bond, and he was required to wear an ankle monitor and reside at his trailer home in Watley. In that home was also his, I guess, a housemate. They've been around each other for about 17 years. And she got a TPO against him, which required him to leave the home. Officer Gibson, his probation officer, who said he would be here today to confirm everything, forbade him from leaving the home because he was required to be there per your court order. And that's why he was arrested and that's where the aggravated stalking charge manifested from. Now, how that charge began, the housemate, Miss Moore, went to magistrate court because she wanted him out of the house. Although they had lived there for 17 years, it was his home. He had purchased it 20-something years ago. So she goes to magistrate court and they asked the problem. She said she wanted him out of there. And the judge said, what has he done wrong? You know, she said he keeps too much company in the yard. He restricted his activities to the yard and the shack in back of the house. Initially, as Your Honor may recall, his bond order restricted him to house arrest. He could not go beyond the house. So he has had trucks coming in in the backyard. He was trying to make a living for himself. And as well as people would come, he had been in custody for a while to bring food and what have you. Him and Miss Moore had stopped having any type of relationship of a romantic nature about 5 months before he initially was taken into custody. So subsequent to that, when he came back, it seemed like everything would be all right, but this situation continued to escalate. The magistrate court said, just stay out of each other's way, stay in different parts of the house, and continue as you're doing. Of course, that didn't happen. Ms. Moore got increasingly frustrated, and Mr. Atkinson called the police on her regarding her damaging some of this property. At that point, she said she really wanted him out. There was no particular incident, no police report, but she got a protective order. The sheriff came to escort him. I believe that order, the ex parte TPO, was signed by Judge Smith. So they got the initial, that was where the problem lied. He couldn't leave the house, because Officer Gibson and the probation office determined not to violate his probation because it was determined he had no choice. He had to stay there per your order. Then there was a discussion for him to move his trailer to some other location because although he paid for the most of it, the land was in Ms. Moore's name. So
His daughter's taking him today. He's going today. We're going to find out in a couple hours. We're all eagerly waiting, Donald. We're all eagerly waiting.
Couldn't leave that address because that's where the order was signed for him to reside. So Mr. Officer Gibson should be present today to confirm everything that he has said, and that's why we're seeking a bond on the aggravated stalking.
Let me ask first, is Officer Gibson here? Officer Gibson is not here. Officer Gibson, he says, has pneumonia and is not here. But according to the police report, which I did read the police report, it did indicate that they went out there at one time. She called him to come out there and he was not there. So apparently he did leave the residence. And quite frankly, I'll find it hard to believe that if the Superior Court judge signs an order that you've got to leave the residence, I can't imagine that the probation officer is going to tell him, no, you got to stay here in violation of this court order. But I'll have to hear from Officer Gibson at some later time. He's not available here today.
Your Honor, I did speak with him yesterday evening, and before, and I stand in my place, stated that that's exactly what happened. So I don't know if I can reach him on the phone, or perhaps the court can, but it's odd, but that's what he had confirmed to me as late as yesterday evening.
Well, they said they went out there at 2 o'clock on the same day and he was not there. So apparently he did leave the residence, but he came back, according to the police report. Now, I don't know if any of that's true or not.
It's in his rear. Didn't you just hear him?
All right. Anything else you want to tell me or present?
Your Honor, Officer Gibson indicated that while this whole scenario was happening, Mr. Atkinson on several occasions would have Officer Gibson listening on the phone so he could validate everything. I've talked to Officer Gibson at least 4 times since this planned volunteering, and he consistently says that Dennis Atkinson did not do anything to violate his probation.
He's not here for violating his probation.
Sorry, his bond.
And of course, as you know, the law requires that if you want a witness to be here, you subpoena that witness to be here. And absent a subpoena, the absence of the witness due to sickness or whatever else is not a valid legal excuse. And I'm assuming he's not under subpoena.
No, Your Honor, assuming he was an officer of the court, I assume that would not be an issue.
Well,
I can.
if you want any law enforcement officer or probation officer or anybody else to testify, they're supposed to be subpoenaed like anybody else. They're not required just to be here. I'll hear from the state. What's the state's response?
I think Layton's waiting now on the court. Your Honor, I am opposed to bond at this time. Mr. Atkinson is not in.
She's opposed to bond. Did you hear that? He didn't do, like, it's not like he was beating her. He wasn't. She doesn't want him to live in the house that he's lived in for 17 years. He's not allowed to leave. She gets a TPO. The police come to remove him, but he's not allowed to leave. But he was at work anyway, so it doesn't matter. He didn't do anything wrong. He calls his probation officer and he says, "Listen, I just got a TPO." His probation officer says, "Whatever you do, stay there. Don't leave the house." Like Harry Potter, whatever you do, stay there. And now he's getting his bond revoked. She wants his bond revoked. Come on, what's he supposed to do?
Titled until December 7th of 2024. And we didn't receive notice personally until 2 days ago. However, we were able to make victim contact, luckily. But Mr. Atkinson does have a long criminal history with 50 cycles and at least 6 felony convictions. There were some thefts on that listed as unknown, so I wasn't sure if they were felony or misdemeanor at that time. Long range of time, so if he does get out, I feel like there's a likelihood that he's going to recommit, especially considering that he's already out on bond in Jefferson County for a theft case. He's also out on bond in Washington County for another unrelated case.
Yeah, but he's out on bond. He didn't break his bond. He didn't do anything wrong, right?
So he is likely to recommit. And I believe that the victim in this case wouldn't have been given a TPO for no reason. So obviously there was some basis there and it was violated. So I feel like the charges are valid here and that I'm just in opposition to him having bond at this point.
Anything else, Ms. Fairclough? Your client's acting like he wants to talk, but I'll let you decide whether you want him to say anything or not.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like testimony from Mr. Atkinson.
All right. Please raise your right hand and use for the testimony you're about to give in the case now and hearing be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Fairclough?
Mr. Atkinson, can you address the matter which the judge has presented regarding you leaving the home when you not being at home when they came to check on you?
That morning, whenever she called the cops to come out there, I left there. When I left home, I went to work. She kept calling my phone, and I did not answer for her. And I called Attorney Matthew Tucker. I couldn't get in touch with him, so I called Mr. Gibson, my probation officer, and I told him, I explained to him, this young lady had took out a TPO on me. He told me, this is words he told me. He said, "Dennis," he said, "look, you're going to get in trouble if you leave that house." He said,
You had already left the house.
No, Judge. What I was saying is I went to work, but he told me to go back home. Officer Gibson told me to go back home. He said, if you leave, then when the police were coming, Mr. Gibson's on the phone. I said, Officer Gibson, the police is coming. He said, you cannot leave that house, Dennis. That's the only, Judge, that's the only reason I was there, because Officer Gibson told me to stay there. I know what a TPO order is. I would have left that house. I never harmed that lady or nothing. And we was in different bedrooms. I never talked to her. I didn't speak to her or nothing, Judge.
Now, when you left the house, were you under court order to the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Restriction, or was that when you were under court order not to leave the home at all?
No, under court order for 7 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And he did. He called. Okay, so they went to court before because she wants him out of the house. So before all this, before the TPO, they went to court before, and the judge in that case said, since he has a TPO, he can't leave. So you guys need to stay at separate parts of the house. He can stay in his bedroom and you stay in yours, and then don't talk to each other. So that was the decision by the other court. So he's living there in this house with her. She does not want him there at all. And then she gets the TPO.
So,
And he calls his probation officer right away. He says, look, this is what's happening. And the probation officer says, do not leave that house.
you were not allowed to leave the home at all?
To 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 in the afternoon.
Okay, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
AM, excuse me, my bad, AM. But I was heading home from work, and she kept calling me saying, I'm gonna put the police on you.
It was at 2 p.m. that you were not present at the home, correct?
Right,
Okay, and you were allowed to be out from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
right.
Okay, so, was there anything else that you want to tell the court?
I'm letting the court know that, I thought I was doing what's right. The probation officer told me that, you cannot leave the house. What I'm saying is you can go to work, but when I told him I had a TPO, he told me to go back home. I cannot leave that house. And then when he was on the phone before the police got there and everything. I said, Mr. Gibson, he said, Dennis, he said, Judge Reed ordered for you to be there with that leg monitor on. I said, yes, sir.
He might own the house. Maybe. I don't think he does. She owns the land. The land that it's on is in her name.
He said, this, I don't know what he's meaning. He said there, once the Superior Court judge issue an order, you cannot leave that address until the Superior Court judge tell you to leave the address. And that's the God honest truth, Judge.
Okay, well.
They're not married. Not married. They've known each other for 17 years. And they did have a relationship at one time, but that stopped. And now they're just living together. So they're living together. She's not calling him. He's not getting calls from her. They live together. Hi, guys.
But there was another Superior Court judge order that you had in your hand when you were served with the TPO.
Right.
And that order said, and that was a subsequent order, a later order, and it said you cannot be there.
Okay, Judge, I understand that. But he said that another Superior Court judge can't overrule you. That's what he told me now.
Sounds like you get legal advice from a probation officer, and that might be not the best source for legal advice.
No, he's supposed
I
to
understand it,
listen
Judge,
to
but
his
I thought I was doing right because I was letting him know what was going on in the household.
Well, this sounds to me like we need a preliminary hearing. If you'd like to have a preliminary hearing.
When he was at work, she was calling him to tell him that she doesn't want him at the house, and over and over and over and over again. But they still live together. It's her calling him was just one part of it.
Give the state notice, and they'll schedule a preliminary hearing in this matter. You'll need to have her here. We'll need to have the probation officer here. We'll need to have the officers here who went out there both times. And we can ferret through this matter. Until, at this point, given Mr. Atkinson's lengthy history and the fact that he's already out on bond in 2 separate cases, which I reluctantly granted because the state just couldn't get their case ready to try. I'm going to deny bond at this time, but I will allow a preliminary hearing. And if the facts work out like he says they work out, then he'll be, won't have to worry about a bond. The case will be dismissed. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Judge. While we have Mr. Atkinson, I'm going to go ahead and hand serve him with a motion to revoke his previous bond, just so that we go ahead and have that on file.
Very well. You schedule that here in the same day, but have the preliminary hearing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and also you're going to need to serve the attorneys in that case.
Yes, sir. We have additional to file today and
Okay.
serve.
All right. Bear in order, please, ma'am, denying the motion for bond at this time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Fairclough.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, now we've got an inmate from Macon State.
I mean, yeah, he did it to himself with his history. But he did it to himself. When he has 60 cycles, right? 50 cycles, 6 felonies, something like that. I lost count. Actually, if she would have gotten a little snacky snack, would she have said all of that? Would she have revoked his bond? No, she'd be over there with a Snickers saying, "Nah, he's okay. Send him home." Okay, let's go to this poor guy. This poor guy.
Thank you. All right, outside 6 is Thomas Jefferson McGee.
Morning, Your Honor. Hunter Carter on behalf of Thomas McGee. We plan to stipulate to the technical violations in the petition and present mitigation and be heard on sentencing.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Outside 7, Sheila Smith.
Savannah Moody for Miss Smith, Judge. She is bonded. She's present over Zoom.
Thank you. And 8 and 9 is Bo Eugene Buffington.
Jenny Hurwitz with Georgia Justice Project on behalf of Mr. Buffington. Good morning, Your Honor. We would be stipulating to the petitions, and I have been in touch with the prosecutor on this matter, and I'm hoping we have a resolution today.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and handle all of our jail cases first. So we'll just get started with outside 2, Philemon Donovan Dollar. I'm sorry, let me back up. Look, there's only, is it Miss Hurwitz? We have a private counsel. Who's our private counsel today?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, okay, I think just that. All right, let's handle
1
your
second.
case. That's the Bo Eugene Buffington matter.
That's
Correct.
not what we want.
Okay, let's start there.
Serve 1 year in custody. With regards to 20 and 1 count of CR 301, both of which are petitions.
Correct.
Okay, let's start there.
Okay, this might be
Yes, Your
it.
Honor. Mr. Buffington is in front of Your Honor on 2 cases, both of which are petitions for the revocation of probation. The case numbers are 23 CR 3016 and 23 CR 3017. In 23 CR 3016, the defendant entered a plea of guilty to the offense of entering auto and 1 count of theft by taking on September 26th of 2023. At that time, he was sentenced to 5 years to serve 1 year in custody. With regards to 23 CR 3017, the defendant entered a plea of guilty to the offense of theft by shoplifting, also on September 26th of 2023, and entered a plea to 5 years to serve 1 year in custody. The petitions for both cases allege the same violations of his probation. The petition alleges that the defendant was arrested on January 30th of 2024 by Atlanta Police Department for the alleged offense of burglary in the second and criminal damage to property in the second and willful obstruction. It also alleges that he was convicted of the offense of burglary the second in Fulton on July 11th, 2024. The petition then alleges that the defendant has failed to report to his supervising officer or the community supervision office at any point since his release from DeKalb County Jail on September 27th of 2023. And finally, the petition alleges that the defendant has failed to report to an inpatient 18-month substance abuse treatment program or complete said program. And that was a special condition of his probation. Your Honor, I have looked into the allegations of the petition, and just to give Your Honor some background information, the defendant was sentenced back in September of 23 in DeKalb County. However, there was a Fulton hold at that point in time. So when he was technically released from DeKalb, he was transferred over to Fulton County, where he remained until January 13th of 2024. And then he was arrested on that violation alleged in the petition and has remained in continuous custody since that point in time. So I believe that the fact that he was out of custody for such a short period of time and that he has remained in continuous confinement since then helps to kind of explain the violations on the petition. At this point in time, he has been accepted into drug court in Fulton County for the plea that he has entered, which I think will address the court's concern of the special condition, the 18-month inpatient program. And I have received confirmation from Ms. Hurwitz of his acceptance into that program. So the state's recommendation is going to be revoke time served and reinstate with the added condition that the defendant comply with the Fulton County Drug Court program.
All right, counsel.
We would be in agreement with that resolution, Your Honor.
That will be the court's order, revoke time served, and with the addition to add on the drug court in Fulton County.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other private counsel?
Judge, I believe Mr. Matthews is private, and that's on the Marcel Lackey.
Outside 10. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and handle that.
Mr. Matthews is the one that I wanted to get. That first one we watched is just bonus. Oops.
Matter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Marcel Lackey.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. This is Lloyd Matthews. Hope I'm not having any technical difficulties. Your Honor, I represent Marcel Lackey. I filed a motion for bond for Marcel, and I'm going to handle this bond hearing a little differently in that I'm going to anticipate some objections that Mr. Costello will make, and then I'm going to try to address those now, which I think that Mr. Costello is going to say that my client was already out on bond when he sustained these charges of second-degree burglary. And I think Mr. Costello is going to oppose bond and say that my client is a risk of committing felonies. So in response to that, let me give Your Honor just a little context. My client was indeed on bond on a murder charge. However, he was set a bond of $10,000 for said charge, which should indicate, and to me indicates, that the murder charge is not probably not of a whole lot of strength to it, because to see a $10,000 bond for a murder case is highly unusual in my experience. And I've been doing this for over 30 years. But nevertheless, he was out on bond on murder charges and was also out on bond on aggravated assault charges, which I believe Mr. Costello is going to say that my client's a violent individual and poses a threat of violence to the community. However, from what I've been able to...
We're all saying that. After what you just said, all of us are saying those words.
Determined about the aggravated assault, it was a car collision where my client says that his brakes seized up and his car collided with another car, which apparently had 4 or 5 occupants in the car. So there again is not your typical aggravated assault case where the perpetrator is accused of either stabbing or shooting at his victim. So that brings us back to whether a bond should be set on the second-degree burglary. Well, I don't have a real good knowledge of that case, except that it was a case where my client was assisting another person, and I think they were removing some items from an apartment, and they were caught on video. My client would say he didn't know the other individual, and he thought he was just doing a favor for him in exchange for some money. My client has 5 kids, and he was hard up for money and was just helping out someone that he really didn't know that well. And it turned out that the items removed belonged to another individual. So it turned out it was a burglary. So I'm not gonna, litigate that here today, except to say that I think a $10,000 bond would be reasonable for that kind of a case. So, if it wasn't for the other things I talked about, the murder accusation and all that, I think the $10,000 bond probably would already have been set by now. Now, the other thing I want to emphasize, and I emphasized it in my motion as well, my client was stabbed in the chest, and he nearly died. This was over at the cab. He was stabbed by 3 blood members, and the reason he was stabbed, we believe, is in retaliation because my client had given information to the detectives about this murder case that I've already referred to. My client nearly died. He nearly died from being stabbed in the chest. He also was stabbed in the jaw to the point where it went out one side of his face and out the other and knocked his teeth out. He's not having a real good time over there at the DeKalb County Jail. He has 5 children. I believe he will report back if he's given a bond. He's willing to abide by bond conditions, but keep in mind that if we go with the Talatrix monitor, he needs to have some accommodation in the bond so he can pay for the monitor. His finances are kind of marginal, which is why he ended up getting to the burglary case to begin with. But I believe he meets the IALA factors. We know about the 4 factors. He's not at risk of committing felonies. He's a 25-year-old man with 5 kids. He had been the sole support prior to his incarceration. He's not at risk of intimidating witnesses. In fact, these blood members have been extorting money from my client's family with my client in jail. They're saying, if you don't pay, saying to the wife, if you don't pay money, we're going to kill him. They put a contract out on him. It really would be better if he could be outside the confines of the Gwinnett County Jail, if at all possible. And so therefore, Your Honor, we respectfully request an aggregate bond of $10,000 on this case.
All right, counsel.
Good morning, Judge. Michael Costello on behalf of the state. This is the state versus Marcel Lackey, 24 CR 2988, where he's charged as a party to the crime with 2 counts of burglary in the 2nd degree. He is currently being held in no bond status. On July 1st of this year, Judge Sutton Piegler denied his motion for bond, citing that he was a significant threat or danger to a person or property in the community, that he poses a significant risk of committing a felony pending trial, and that he poses a significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice pending trial. Judge, this is a case that involves 2 separate incidents of burglary. The first one being on May 10th of 2024, where the DeKalb County Police Department is called to investigate a burglary that took place at about midnight at 421 Meadowwood Drive. Maintenance officials told officers that 2 males broke into their storage unit overnight from forced entry. They stole a washing machine, a refrigerator, tools, and an air compressor. The incident was captured by the property surveillance cameras, and the footage showed a silver Ford Explorer with a particular Georgia tag entering the apartment complex. Two males are seen exiting that vehicle. They are observed taking items out of the storage unit and loading them onto the truck, and then the suspect vehicle leaves the scene. On May 17th of 2024, DeKalb PD investigates another burglary that occurred at about 1:30 in the morning at the Ascend at Stone Mountain apartment complex at 490 South Stone Mountain Road. Here, management advised that their storage unit was broken into and HVAC equipment was stolen. The suspects captured on surveillance appeared to match the physical description of those who were captured on the surveillance footage from the May 10th burglary, and they were seen using a similar silver Ford Explorer. A BOLO was distributed for this vehicle, and on May 22nd of this year, the DeKalb County Police Department NET team located that vehicle and followed it into Gwinnett County to a storage unit. Gwinnett County officers observed this vehicle leaving the storage unit. They initiated a traffic stop. The driver of that vehicle was identified as Marcel Lackey, the defendant. Rachel Jenkins, who was Mr. Lackey's significant other, was in the passenger seat of this vehicle. And the co-defendant, Eric Page, also on this calendar, was found lying in the rear of the vehicle next to a refrigerator. All three occupants are detained. They're turned over to DeKalb PD for further investigation. Ms. Jenkins provides a statement after she's read Miranda and waives her rights, where she's shown a video of the burglaries. She begins to cry, and she identifies one of the suspects as her significant other, defendant Lackey. She also identifies the co-defendant Page as the second subject, even though he's wearing a mask, because she can identify particular tattoos that Mr. Page has that are visible from the surveillance. According to Ms. Jenkins, she was aware that Mr. Lackey and Mr. Page were working together, but she was unaware of what they were actually doing. Mr. Lackey was Mirandized and provides a custodial statement where he admits to helping Mr. Page pick up miscellaneous items at different locations for pay. He said that they would use his vehicle, that Ford Explorer, and he identifies himself and Mr. Page in the videos. He claims that he did not know that they were committing any burglaries. Mr. Page never makes any statements to law enforcement officers. I think what's interesting to note in this case, Judge, is that in one of the videos, Mr. Page is wearing a mask, and in both of these cases, there are burglaries that occur in the middle of the night. So I think that it's reasonable to infer that Mr. Lackey probably knew what he was doing wasn't quite above board. When you look at his criminal history, Judge, I showed 10 cycles in the state of Georgia, but they're
Mr. Costello, I think you've given the court sufficient information. The court is denying the bond at this time. The court finds him to be a risk to commit another felony, a risk to the community, and a risk to intimidate witnesses. Bond's denied.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Okay.
What? But he got stabbed in the face. And it went the whole way through, Judge. You're not going to give him a bond. I think he was punished for that. I didn't know that was my stuff, Judge. I was just helping him out. He said I had to wear this mask so I wouldn't get everybody else sick. Yeah, see? See? That's what I thought. No one can ever have enough baloney. No one. Absolutely no one. Hi, Joanne. Lacey, are you still here? You said hi at the beginning. Okay. I just ordered McDonald's. I'm so excited. Give me my breakfast. And now we're going to go Now we're gonna go to the same judge. And just so you know, I just want you to know, the lady on the phone is the inmate. She's the inmate. So when you hear things, that's her. And it's great. Okay.
Yes, Judge.
Oh, different judge, different judge.
All right, I heard Mr. Pepper. Miss Polita, are you there? All right, Miss Polita's there. And let me unmute. Miss Mayhew, are you there?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right. Court will call Lessa Mayhew, 2024 F4004.
Erica Saluda for the people.
And Stephen Pepper on behalf of Ms. Mayhew. She's appearing virtually. She's on the phone from Denver County. We'd ask for appointment while she remains in custody, and we waive any further reading or advisement.
Ms. Mayhew, can you hear us?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here. I can hear just fine.
All right. Have you ever served in the United States military?
No, Your Honor.
Arguments as to bond, Mr. Pepper?
Yes, Judge. Judge, I would be asking for a PR bond in this case. I do believe it's appropriate. I will note at the outset that Ms. Mayhew has been in custody awaiting appearance and waiting to receive a bond, as she's been on a no bond hold in Denver for the last 33 days. She just has not been seen by our courts, but she is being seen now. Ms. Mayhew is 41 years old. She's been living in Colorado for her entire life. We're asking for a PR bond as I don't believe that she's a flight risk. She does have strong ties to the community. Primarily, it's her mother. She does live and take care of her mom, who suffered 3 heart attacks. Unfortunately, her mom is no longer mobile, so Ms. Mayhew essentially does everything for her mother. While her mother has received some help while Ms. Mayhew's been in custody, she is asking for a PR bond so that she is able to get out of custody and return to helping her mom. Prior to getting into custody, Ms. Mayhew was working as a cashier at the GNC. She was doing that part-time for the last 10 months. She's hopeful that she'll still have that job. However, she's not sure due to the amount of time that she's been in custody on the no bond hold. She's hopeful that she can return to that job. If not, she does plan to look for another part-time position. She's also been living at the same address for the last 7 years. So again, I don't believe that she's at all a flight risk. She's in the process of applying for SSI as she is going blind currently. She is also working with Jefferson County Mental Health, and she's very involved with the Second Chance Center. She has a mentor through the Second Chance Center that she meets with, and they're the ones that are helping her get the SSI. She also takes classes at Celebrate Recovery. She got involved with those sorts of classes while she's been in custody, but she plans to keep doing it once she's out of custody. I will also note, Judge, that I don't believe that she is a threat to the community, nor do I believe that she's a threat to the alleged victim in this case. I'll note that she's the alleged victim in 2 strangulation cases where the alleged victim is the defendant out of Jefferson County. And I will also note that the alleged victim is currently in custody with the earliest estimated release date to be April 2026. So I don't believe that there's any concern that Ms. Mayhew would be a threat to the alleged victim in this case. I'll also note that she is on bond out of Denver, where she is required to comply with pretrial services. She is required to report, and she is required to take UAs according to her. Based off of all of that, Judge, I do believe that a PR bond is appropriate in this case, and that's what I'm asking for.
Robert, I just want to make sure I understand your record correctly. You indicated that she's been in custody in Denver for 33 days on a no bond hold. I'm just a bit confused by that. Has she been housed on this case in Denver for 33 days, or has it been something else with her?
So she did have a Denver case for which she posted bond last night. And then she had a no bond hold out of this case, which has been pending for the last 33 days since she's been in custody. She hasn't been seen to have a bond here.
Okay.
A calm, non-injury week. That's what we want.
Leader for the people.
Yes, Your Honor. Given that this is an out-of-custody case, there was no pretrial report done. So in my investigation of this case, I'll just start at the oldest and move forward. I see a 2005 domestic violence assault, 2006 trespass to auto and theft, 2009 prostitution, 2009 drug paraphernalia, disorderly conduct, 2009 violation of protection order, 2010 eluding, 2011 theft, 2011 drug paraphernalia, 2011 false information to an officer,
Oh my God.
2012 felony motor vehicle theft, 2012 felony escape, 2014 possession of a controlled substance, 2016 felony robbery and trespass, 2016 domestic violence, criminal mischief, 2016 drug paraphernalia and resisting, 2017 felony motor vehicle theft, 2017 violation of protection order, 2017 attempted assault on a peace officer.
That's her. That's her. Completely shocked that this is her.
2022 domestic violence assault, 2022 domestic violence violation of protection order. That is against the same
She's
victim
not
in this
having
case.
sex. She's listening to her
2022
record.
non-DV violation of protection order against the same victim in this case. 2022 obstruction, disorderly conduct. 2022 violation of protection order. 2023 Denver false information to law enforcement. 2023 Denver destruction of public property, 2023 Denver domestic violence assault. That's the case that this protection order is out of, but it looks like it was dismissed fairly recently on the 27th of last month. A pending Denver motor vehicle theft case. And I do see failures to appear from 2006, 3 in 2007, 1 in 2008, 2 in 2009, 1 in 2010, 5 in 2011, 1 in 2012, 1 in 2016, 1 in 2022, and 3 in 2023. So at this point, the people would be asking for a $3,000 cash or surety bond just due to the defendant's pretty extensive criminal history. Specifically criminal history involving domestic violence, concern for the community there, and her prior fails to appear.
Ms. Bullitt, I just want to make sure all of those offenses that you listed, those are convictions, not just arrests.
No, those are all convictions, Your Honor. To my knowledge, I went through the NCIC, they're all listed as guilty.
And do you have a VRA record?
Your Honor, the people are VRA by attempt. We were unable to reach the named victim.
Anything further from the defense as to bond or the protection order, Mr. Pepper?
Mr. Bryan? Or Stephen?
Go ahead, Mr. Pepper. Mr. Pepper, I see you're moving, but I don't hear you.
That's because I was muted. Judge, I don't have any record to make regarding the protection order. We have no issue with the protection order. And again, I would just reiterate my request for a PR bond based off of what I stated earlier, as I don't believe that she's a threat to the alleged victim in this case. I would also note that if the court does want to impose some sort of cash bond, the most that she would be able to post is $100.
Or two.
All right, ma'am, before I address bond, I do need to address the protection order. The protected party is Jasmine Wagner. I am finding, based off the allegations in the arrest affidavit, that this is a crime of domestic violence as defined by the applicable Colorado statute. You shall not harass, molest, intimidate, retaliate against, or tamper with that individual or any witness to the acts you're charged with committing. You shall vacate the home of that individual, stay away from the home of that individual, and stay away from any location that individual is likely to be found. You shall refrain from contacting that individual directly or indirectly. You shall not commit any new offenses, and compliance with this order is a condition of a bond posted. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, I have a question. Hold on one second. I will indicate that you have acknowledged that on the record. We will send that over for you to sign. You will need to sign that before you can be released from custody on this case. As to your question, you're certainly welcome to ask that. I just remind you that everything we say here is recorded. It's best to make sure those questions are only procedural in nature, otherwise to let your attorney speak on your behalf.
Okay, can I ask my question now to my attorney, please?
If you need us to get you into a breakout room, we certainly can.
Ms. Mayhew, let's just let the judge make her record first and make her findings. And then if you still have questions, you and I can chat afterwards, okay?
I mean, I don't mind to say it in front of the courtroom. I just want to just reiterate that because my mom's old, cash bond, it'd be easier for me to sign out. I don't know, like a $200 or $100 cash bond, so my mom doesn't have to go through the bond.
She's mean, though. This judge is mean.
And God, my record sounds horrible. And actually, can we break out maybe? What do you think we should do, Stephen?
I think let's let the judge make her findings and then you and I can chat, okay?
Okay, and did you also, okay. And then when you say findings, you're talking about let her say her verdict?
Yep, let her make her ruling based off of bond, okay? So just let her go.
Okay, does she know where the defendant's at?
Yep, so we made record of that, Ms. Mayhew, so it's okay. So just let's let the judge talk now, okay?
Oh, and one more thing is, I am willing to do a suspended sentence, jail sentence, whatever. This is very serious to me because how old I am now, and this is very serious to me. My life is so serious to me. Thank you, I'm done.
Court will note the court has reviewed the charges, the arrest affidavit, and heard the statements of counsel here today. Court does note that these allegations arose on November 20th of 2023. The defendant is currently serving a sentence in Denver. The court does note the criminal history as alleged or as indicated by the people. The court also notes the 3 failures to appear in 2023. Court also notes the allegation that the defendant did flee the scene when she observed an officer arriving. In light of that, the court will set bond in this case in the amount of $3,000 cash or surety. Mr. Pepper, are you requesting an in-custody court date?
I am, Judge. I would just like to make sure, because I know that while making your ruling, you stated that Ms. Mayhew was serving a sentence out of Denver. She's not currently serving a sentence out of Denver.
Stephen?
Hold on, Ms.
All right, Raven, I'm going to answer your question, and then you're going to argue with me. Well, I'm going to answer your question. But then you can argue with me. This is Indiana. It really, really, really is Indiana. I'm wrong. This is Colorado. She's Colorado. Hold on, I'm thinking now. Now I can't remember. It's either Indiana or Colorado. It can't be anything other than one of those 2 states.
Ms. Mayhew, let the judge keep talking.
And I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that, Mr. Pepper, and I appreciate that correction.
Colorado.
While that is helpful information to the court, that does weigh certainly in the court's mind towards a lower bond. I'm also looking at an extensive history here in front of me as set forth by the district attorney's office and some failure to appear history. However, that does weigh in the court's mind as to a lower bond. Given that correction, the court will set bond to $2,000 cash or surety.
Can you do cash only, ma'am, please? Please, can you do cash only, please, Your Honor? 200 cash, so I can sign myself out? My mom's not mobile.
In light of the record that I have, no, the 2,000, I mean, it can be cash. You can post 2,000 cash if you have it, but in light of the record that I have in front of me, it's $2,000 cash or surety.
Oh,
so you're requesting a court date.
Your Honor, can you do a cash bond only for $200 cash bond?
No, ma'am. I have set your bond.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Judge. I believe you asked if we're requesting an in-custody court date.
Yes, and do we need a writ from Denver?
I'm done with Denver.
I would be requesting an in-custody court date, and out of an abundance of caution, I would request a writ from Denver, although I anticipate that if she can't post bond, she would be transported here.
Because I bought out of Denver.
Ma'am, your next court date will be November 19th at 8:30 in Division 405. That date will also be in your bond paperwork. If you remain in custody, you will be brought over for that court date. If you are out of custody, it will be your responsibility to get yourself here and reapply for the public defender's office. Just to make sure we can get you here, I will request that people prepare a writ from Denver. Have a good day, ma'am.
I'm done with Denver.
All right, and I understand that. I just want to make sure we don't have any issues getting you here.
Okay, thank you. Can I talk to you, Stephen?
Sure.
Oh, hold on 1 second. My clerk's bringing something to my attention. Give me 1 second. It looks like they have to do.
My mother's on. Are we still in court, Stephen?
We're still in court. Thank you. So just stop talking, and then we'll talk after.
That's already.
I can't make that bond, Stephen.
I apologize. The court will correct that date. That date will be October 25th at 8:30 in Division 405. Have a good day. Mr. Pepper, do you need us to get you into a breakout room?
Yes, please.
All right.
I am working. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to figure out what state I'm in. You know how hard that is? I'm in all the states, guys, all of them. How am I supposed to remember one of them? Because they said Denver. Denver, I have a Denver in Pennsylvania. It's right above me, right above my head. So she doesn't want her mom to have to go through the bail bondsman to get her out. My mom would not go through the bail bondsman. Nope, nope, nope. Fozzie tried to give me a beer through text. That's why I'm stopping everything, because Fozzie sent me a text message. So we have to get my beer. I want my beer. It's not even cold. It feels warm. My beer feels warm. If I had a Post-it note for everything that I need to remember, I would be in a psycho ward. Oh man. I think I lost fantasy, but at least my Steelers did okay. She kept calling him Steven. I would use Pepper every single sentence. I would end it with Mr. Pepper. Every single one. All right. Can I please do $1? Can I just do $1, Judge, please? Yes, I use whiteout on my monitor. How am I supposed to fix my mistakes? Sorry, Michael. As long as the Steelers did well, though. All right, we are. My McDonald's is at the door, so I have to get Fleischer on real quick.
No, we can't give you that kind of information, right? So, okay, thanks. I'm thinking nothing of it, and then we get a huge hoop.
I have a couple people in Jacksonville on my fantasy team, and we started out points. I was whooping him. I had a 73% chance of beating, and this is my boss. This is my boss that I was up against yesterday. I had a 73% chance of beating him in fantasy football. And I'm looking right now. He beat me. He beat me by, because I put the wrong defense in. If I would have put the right defense in, I would have whooped my boss. That's all I want to do in life is whoop my boss. Okay, let's get Fleischer on.
From the entire head of the organization, whoever the parents were that went to go talk to the judges, that's a big no, you can't do this. I mean, how am I supposed to? I'm trying to help.
We can actually talk to the judges after the fact, just not beforehand.
Always trying to help.
And then even the participants can ask, what are you looking for? Because we all know that from one show to the next, it would be someone different, and everybody's looking for what they like.
Yeah.
And it changes from one show to the next.
There's not one unified standard. I mean,
and that's what makes it hard. There is no one unified standard.
Probably. 2 years. I think of them.
All right, I'm gonna put someone on and go get my McDonald's.
How old are you, man?
19. All right, Judge, case 6,
Let's
Della
roll.
Cruz, come on up.
I'm only going right over there. Just behave. Kelly, you're in charge. Easy decision. Kelly, you're in charge.
Who's here on the walkthrough? You said a lawyer was here?
JL.
They're coming back.
Okay. So Maria de la Cruz, good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, you were charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or $2,000 fine. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On September 8th, 2024, an officer was dispatched to a target in Texas regarding a theft. Upon arrival, the officer met with the complainant, the loss prevention manager, who advised the defendant had stolen from the business. The complainant advised that the defendant had entered the business with no merchandise and with a small pink fanny pack on her person. The defendant was then observed going to the style department and began making selections at the merchandise and then began going into the business fitting room. The defendant exited the fitting room and the style merchandise was not seen, and the defendant dumped the merchandise on the rack in the fitting room. The defendant was then observed going to the jewelry department, and the complainant advised the defendant was observed quickly selecting Kendra Scott jewelry, and the defendant went to the beauty department and was advised that she began selecting Kendra Scott jewelry and hair care department merchandise. And the defendant then went to the home department and then the chemical aisle and began concealing merchandise into the small pink fanny pack and began walking towards the front of the store. The defendant passed all points of sale without rendering payment for the items, and the total amount taken was $103.92.
And where did you say this is from?
At Target.
Got it. Okay. Ms. De La Cruz, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. How old are you, ma'am?
My son, and he's not my grandson, but he's pretty much my grandson. But my nephew, great nephew, are in my stream, guys. And they missed the funny videos. Now they're here for Fleischer. They missed the good stuff. I mean, Fleischer's good too, but I don't know what's coming up. I don't know if he got any solve sits today. I don't know if he has anybody freaking out. Is Steven going to take anybody downstairs? I don't know. I haven't watched this yet. I knew what I played earlier and it was funny. He's my nephew. He's my niece's son, but my niece is like my daughter, right, Anthony? So Winter Warrior. Yeah, Winter Warrior is like my grandson, I guess, even though he's not. Did you see any of the other stuff? No. My family thinks I'm very not funny. So they won't come in here. They won't come in here. Go play Honkai. Nope. What's the game? What's that, Anthony? Honkai Star Rail. Go play Honkai Star Rail. No, it was your eye rolls that say it. Ugh. Hi, Tina. Please leave chat. Thank you, security. Nope, we're not done. I'm just started, John. John, we just got started. My family is here. I had to say hi.
What do you do for a living?
I go to school,
Where do you go to school?
Pima Medical Institute.
Okay. Are you working as well?
Not currently.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
Are they here today with you? Okay. Like I said, I'm going to find probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to go to any Target stores whatsoever. You were given a free bond, so we let you out of jail. And that's how you're here before me. You're not going to get another one. If you pick up a new case, if you go to any Target or do something you're not supposed to, I will revoke the bond, put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds, and it's going to go way higher than it is now. Do you understand? Did you want to apply for a court-appointed lawyer, man? Okay, we will give you an application. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions up, okay? First, we're going to have you sign a reset, and then we need to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I need to know everything about you, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Please. State. Nope. Anytime someone is monitored, like a DWI or an assault where we're going to monitor with a GPS, then they would go to you. Here, just please, no going to any Target.
Page 11.
So thanks for getting me in trouble. My son didn't know I got McDonald's. Or just me. I
Good morning,
didn't
Mr.
even know
Javed.
he was over there. He's usually
Sir, you're
very
charged with
down.
terroristic threat or
You
a
guys hear
family
him?
or a household member. That
Oh, he was
allegation kicks
upstairs
it up to a
sleeping.
Class A misdemeanor, so you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 8th, 2024, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was dispatched to meet with a firefighter at 3515, a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officer met with the complainant, who stated she got into an argument with her husband.
My son hates eggs, so I can get McDonald's all I want. He'll never touch it.
The complainant stated the defendant had been threatening to kill the complainant's family in Pakistan and to kill her in the past. In 2023, she called the police, but no report was made because she was afraid of retaliation. The complainant stated they have talked about who the defendant knows in Pakistan and believe the defendant could do something to her family to have them killed. The complainant stated the defendant made these threats to her and her family to control her. When the complainant called for police on October 8th, the defendant told the complainant if she called the police, the complainant knew the consequences, while making a circle in his hands, gesturing as if to strangle the complainant.
So there's also felony retaliation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this within what you just said now, or is it something else that happened? Because I know it arises out of the same, but was there any more overt action that was done other than spoken word?
Sorry, Your Honor. Let me check the DIMS.
Okay. Mr. Javed, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Tell me, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this complaining witness. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm entering in, or it looks like a protective order has already been issued on the 9th of this month. I would get to know it. If you do something to violate this protective order, the state can and will file additional charges as violation of protective order. And I'm telling you, that's one of the worst cases you can.
It's still my Sunday, Kelly. So we're still doing last week, Fleischer. This was the day after, I think. This was the day after we got back from Houston when I didn't stream at all. I don't think I did this, Judge Fleischer, did I?
Can pick up. You violate conditions on a no contact order, I can hold you at zero bond, and I will do it in a second to protect every person of Harris County. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When I mean no contact, I mean no contact of any kind. Phone calls, text messages, social media, use of another person to relay any information. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of weapons. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you violate these conditions, I will revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds, and I'm telling you now, I'm going to make it high.
I did not meet the
So,
judge.
no contact of any kind.
Your Honor, appears to be just the verbal threats.
Okay, so can you file no contact and no weapons, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
For now, I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Victoria. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign the bond conditions, and then we'll have you wait for your lawyer. Okay? Please.
This McDonald's is really good.
Mr. Dakota, do you have an arraignment?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Cubone?
I didn't do this one.
All right, Judge,
You
case
might have seen it on
19,
another channel.
Perkins, come on up.
Silence all cell phones.
Good morning, Ms. Perkins. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. So you are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On October 9th, 2024, officers were dispatched to 5299 West Park Drive in Harris County, Texas, regarding a major crash. The will witness stated he saw the defendant get out of the driver's seat of her motor vehicle, and Houston Fire Department advised the defendant admitted to drinking. The officers observed the defendant with slurred speech and glassy eyes. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN was 6 out of 6, walk and turn of 3 out of 8, and one leg stand was 2 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.153 and 0.157.
Tell me about the driving facts again, please.
There was a major crash, Your Honor.
Okay, so she's at a crash.
She's at a crash, and then the real witness who was involved in the crash saw the defendant get out of the driver's side.
Got it. Okay. Ms. Perkins, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license, ma'am? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name? Can you run her license, please?
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
also, does she have any prior DWIs, please? If you
No
can run
prior
her
DWI
license.
and license eligible.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna find, like I said, there's probable cause to go forward. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or any kind of illegal drugs, I will put you in jail. I'm gonna revoke your bond. You will not get your more PR bonds. You understand? How old are you, ma'am? You're 20. What do you do for a living? Where do you work? Mom shops. Who do you live with? No, with mom, dad, or by yourself? Okay. Can you afford a lawyer? How much money do you make a month? Okay. Is that all you're doing now, or are you doing anything else in school or anything? Okay, I'll have you. Let me see. I need you to fill out an application for me for an appointed lawyer, and I'll take a look at it. If you qualify, I'll provide you with a lawyer today. For now, I'm gonna have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box while you fill out the application, then I'll take a look at it, okay? You will need to meet with the pre-trial for your bond conditions, so don't leave until you do that, okay? Please.
Since you guys saw this before and I didn't, is anything good gonna happen?
You have an arraignment. Are you
Do
ready?
we have a sob sit today?
We have to do it right. Whenever you're ready.
We have another arraignment.
You want to do Corey's first, or?
Is that arraignment?
Yeah.
Oh, who was it?
Cubone.
Oh, that's the one else.
Is it Cubone?
It's fresh. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce
I'm
it.
so sorry about that. Come in Discord if you need to talk.
How do we pronounce your name, ma'am? Cubone. Ma'am, you're charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Okay?
Yes, Judge. On September 18, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a Walmart in reference to a theft in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the loss prevention manager, who stated he followed the defendant in pink nurse scrubs within the business as she was pushing a shopping cart and concealing in a black backpack several items she took from the shelves of the business. The defendant observed the defendant pay for the items in the cart at the self-checkout, pass all points of sale, and exit without paying for the items she had loaded in the backpack. The complainant stopped the defendant outside the exit doors and confronted her about the concealed items. The defendant initially denied everything, but ultimately gave her the backpack, to which the defendant found unpaid items with a value of $118.53. Another unpaid item of a value of $1.38 was found wrapped in a Walmart plastic bag in the shopping cart. The total amount taken was $119.91.
Okay. All right, ma'am, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Tell me, are you a United States citizen? You are? Okay, I am ordering you as a condition of your bond not to go back to any Walmart. If we find that you go back to Walmart, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? Okay. You have a lawyer. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance. You don't have to come to court until he tells you that your presence is needed. But you must stay in contact with Corey. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're ducking and dodging phone calls, that's it. We will revoke your bond, okay? Any questions? Yeah, I know. I have to apprise you.
Understand, yeah.
Do you have any questions? Okay, we're gonna have you sign a reset. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. We get your bond condition. We'll have you sign it, and then you're free to go. Okay?
Thank you,
Okay,
Judge.
guys. Thanks, Corey.
Where's the slip? Judge.
No going to Walmart.
Judge.
And they know. So if you get banned from Walmart, they know. They have your face. They know. As soon as you walk in, I don't know what happens back in the security room, but They get alerted that you're there. Sunglasses do not help.
You want to know?
No, she has a license and insurance, so she can drive, but just no drugs, no alcohol, random use. So you got subbed out of the Padilla thing. He's supposed to be here today too.
Oh, excellent.
So I told counsel yesterday that, I mean, we told you guys that the minute he got out of ICE custody, he was supposed to be here, and a month rolls by and he's not even here. And then counsel comes and says he's in like Alabama or somewhere else working. And I was like, that's unacceptable. He needs to be here today. Otherwise I'm revoking the bond.
Of course, Your Honor. I mean,
So-
we were notified about that at all, Your Honor. Yeah,
So, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just,
Share
it's,
we were willing to do the
Of
case
both.
pro bono, Judge. We were trying to help him
Sandwich.
and his family out, but they just weren't cooperating.
okay, not a problem. But if he's not here today, then, and as a matter of fact, did Padilla check in?
What was the last name?
Page 8, the bottom of 18? No? Okay, if he's not here, then 5,000. On Reyes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm ready when you are. We're done with the Raymond? Okay. Jose Vicente Reyes, do you need a translator?
No, sir. And it is no, it says 3 days Harris County Jail. I spoke with the state. It is the time, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Reyes. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 3 days in jail, credit for the 1 day that you've done. You need to understand, sir, that this charge will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. It's even there after you die. And this is important because you ever get pulled over.
I think Walmart does too, because I remember I was at work one day at the university and the police came for me. And, you know, they said I had to they came, they didn't handcuff me, thank goodness. And they let me drive my own car to the police station and they followed me. That way I could get back to work or whatever. They let me drive my own car. I don't know why. But I went to the police station and I'm sitting there in the police station and they're saying that I stole all this stuff from Walmart. And they start showing me these pictures and the photos that they give me, the photos that they show me, there's like squares around the face of the person in this photo, you know, with the green lines and everything and the dots. So I'm looking at these photos and I'm like, yeah, that's my sister. They said, no, it's not your sister because so what she did was she went to the shelves, she grabbed a baby mattress and stuff from the shelves, and then she went to the front to the customer service and said she lost her receipt. And then she signed my name. She signed my name at the customer service. And then so I'm sitting in the police station and she's my sister. So we look similar, right? I mean, she's my sister. Well, I'm there for a while and on the desk in front of me are 3 fat folders. Each manila folder was like this thick of things that I have done in Walmart in the past. And I'm blown away. The police officer lets me look at these 3 fat manila folders and I'm looking and you know I'm like, look, this isn't me, this is my sister. It's really not me, I promise it's not me. And they weren't listening to me. They wanted me to go into custody right away. They weren't listening to a word I said. I got like 3/4 of the way down through the second folder and in there was this picture that they had of me in Walmart, and I had these thick bangs. Well, I've never wore bangs ever until like a year and a half ago. No bangs. and my hair was always really, really long till like a year and a half ago. So I'm showing him my long hair. I said, look, there's bangs. I couldn't have grown them out this long in that amount of time. I said, it's my sister. It really is my sister. But if I wouldn't have seen that photo with the bangs just right, I would have went into custody because they didn't care one bit what I had to say. I told them, what time of the day was this? I can prove that I'm at work. I'm at work every single day. I go into Millersville, I'm a government employee, so there's cameras, they can see I'm there. They didn't care. They didn't care one bit what I had to say. They weren't listening to me at all. So I was this close to going into custody that day. I was in the police station for hours. I didn't go back to work. I was too embarrassed to go back to work, but Walmart had the squares and the dots and everything, so I'm pretty sure they have facial recognition. However, it's not good enough to tell me from my sister. So if she sends her sister to Walmart, her sister's going to jail.
Over and an officer's gonna
I'd
see
be
this. If
mad
they
at my
smell alcohol or dope, what do you think they're gonna do? What we're doing today, the proverbial slap on the wrist, now you'll be facing a minimum of 90 days in jail. So be careful because this time served, you understand. I mean, it's a minimum of 90 from now on. You give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine the accusers. If you're not a citizen or possible immigration consequences, you can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you can never change this or undo this. It will go on your record. It'll be there forever. Is this what you want to do? How do you plead to the offense, sir? Guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty and I will sentence you to 3 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 1 day that you've done. I have to suspend your license, so I will suspend it for 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license. And good luck to you, sir.
Judge, I asked that his license not be suspended. It's been suspended for over 220 days already.
I have to suspend it, right? If you want credit for the ALR suspension.
Yes, sir.
Why has it been suspended for so long?
I am not very sure. He just spoke. I'm filling in for Attorney Clay today, Eric Clay. So I just spoke to the client about the suspension.
Part of my
over and
PR
over
bond
again.
was not to drive, and you revoked my privilege to drive. So I've been.
Well, there's a reason. Usually, if you don't have a license, you don't have insurance. Some
Over a 0.15.
No, I never take someone's, has to have been an aggravating factor as to why. I don't just willy-nilly take someone's ability to drive away because I take it really seriously. If you're driving in a manner like going over 100 or a prior DWI or with an open container or something like that. What happened in this case?
So in this case, officers were dispatched to a crash in Harris County, Texas, and they arrived and observed the vehicle with front end damage that had hit an apartment complex entrance gate and wall building.
I have a license.
I had a license, valid license and valid liability.
See.
Part of my bond was, just suspending my license. I couldn't drive.
Oh, you know what it was? You had an ALR suspension. That's one. Your license was suspended. Have you paid any kind of reinstatement fees? Then your license is suspended now. Whenever you get a DWI, you have two cases against you. You have this case, you also have an administrative case versus DPS. And if you don't take care of the administrative case, DPS suspends your license and it remains in suspension until you go and actively take care of it to have it reinstated. One of those things that you have to do is pay a reinstatement fee of around $125. So until
I have to keep my mic muted because apparently some viewers find me distracting.
you do that, it remains effectively suspended indefinitely until you take care of it. What we do is we bring you back in to apprise you of the fact that your license does become suspended and that if you drive, you're in violation of these bond conditions. So I'm trying to help you, believe it or not. I'm not. So do this. Go get your license reinstated. Go to DPS. Show me that you've got it reinstated. Then we can run so that I'll give you credit for the time that you've had your ALR suspension. I'd rather have you driving legally than driving illegally, right? So go get it reinstated. Because what we need are the dates of suspension for the ALR. If you have that, we can give it to them and give you the credit. But don't just start driving now.
You're going to be my sister. Do not turn me in. Do not rob Walmart.
Your license is still suspended. Alex, can you run it? You mind?
Yes, Your Honor, it's not eligible, and the most recent we have is the ALR suspension.
See, it's the administrative license revocation suspension that you get from DPS. You got to go call DPS and they'll tell you what to do to get it reinstated. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Please. Hey, good morning.
Two cases on your docket this morning. The first one is Mr. Chason Booker. Mr. Booker has a DWI pending in this court under a .15. Also has a DWI pending in Del Rio, which was picked up roughly a month before this one. We still do not have any information back on that Del Rio case. I have reached out to defense counsel, and I know the state has also reached out to the Del Rio DA's office. It is what it is.
It's only 80 days old, so.
Exactly. It's a newer case. What I did want to ask you, Your Honor, Mr. Booker is currently under a GPS monitor, curfew, and also no driving. His ALR suspension from Del Rio, his Houston ALR suspension was recently dismissed, but he is still not driving. I wanted to approach the court in regard to the curfew and the GPS monitor. He is a 25-year-old man who has to be home by 9 o'clock. Can we dispense with the curfew and perhaps limit no contact with establishments that serve alcohol, just so he can maybe have a little bit more life? He's not driving, he's not a danger.
He had a life and now he has 2 DPIs.
He's got 2 DWI.
Your Honor, I have a Spanish arraignment on page 4, Macero.
Okay.
Come on, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, this Mr. Iseguirre's law office? Hey, Rick, this is Judge Fleischer in Court 5. Hey, he's got a client on Monday's
Judge,
docket,
stop
Mr.
calling me
Martinez,
on
that
my
has
street.
bond violations. Can you just make sure that on that day, the defendant's here to answer for the bond violation, please? It's Monday. Yeah, he must appear. Thanks. All right, take it. Apellido? Macero.
Page 14, Your Honor.
Thanks. Mr. Macero, you're charged with failure to identify oneself, giving false or fictitious information. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine.
So far
We are
away.
going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
All right, may I just get a cause number for that real quick?
It's 2533 067.
On October 8th, 2024, the officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle failed to stop at a stop sign. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated he did not have a driver's license, ID, or passport. The defendant wrote Jesus Gutierrez, date of birth October 2nd, 1977, on a notepad provided by the officer. There was no TCIC return for the name. The officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle to have a different VIN from that on TCIC, and the defendant consented to a search of the motor vehicle. The officer found a Venezuelan passport with the defendant's photograph and the name Jairo Jose Macedo Barcenas, date of birth January 11th, 1976. The defendant stated he lied about the name to the officer and used a fake name because he was afraid and had never been stopped by officers while in the country.
Mr. Macedo Barcenas.
Your Honor, maybe he has to go to the civil court.
Yeah, go. Thanks, Luis.
Hola, buenos días. Me llamo Luis Linda. Disculpe la interrupción. Mi colega se tiene que ir a un juicio. Acérquese
Too
aquí.
soon, Michael, too soon.
Después sí conteste nada más en español. Hello.
Marcelo Barcenas, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Are you a United States citizen?
What?
Are you a United States citizen?
¿Estadounidense?
No.
No.
Are you in this country with or without permission?
¿Es con permiso o sin permiso? Without permission.
I'm going to give you a warning now that if you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put an immigration detainer on you. You will remain in custody until this case is over with, and then you will be shipped off to immigration, and you will sit in immigration custody until they do whatever they're going to do to you. That usually is a process that'll take about 6 to 9 months. If you do not want that to happen, do not violate any of the conditions that I put on you now. Because if you do, you could be spending a lot of time in custody. You do not have a Texas driver license, so you are not allowed to drive. I am making that a condition of your bond. The other condition I'm putting now is not to get in trouble or violate any laws. You were able, I don't know if you went to jail, but from now on, you will not be given any more PR bonds. So your bonds will be sufficiently high that you're going to spend some time there. And if you're unlucky enough, immigration will put a detainer on you. You will get no further warnings. Do you understand?
Sí, señor. Tiene que hablar. Sí, señor o no, señor. Yes, sir.
No driving whatsoever.
Manejo para nada. No puede manejar.
Okay. We are going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. First, I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. After that, I will get you to Victoria, where we will have you sign a reset, and we're going to get you out of here. These are the only conditions I'm putting on you now. Don't drive and don't get in trouble. When you come back, please have a lawyer, sir.
Y esto se puede meter permiso a los que no van a dejar.
How was jail? Good. You pick up another case, you violate conditions. Next time it'll be doubled, tripled, maybe quadrupled, depending on what happens. I'm not asking much from you. I'm asking you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs and obey the law. And if you become a danger to society, there's only one place. Do you understand?
Sir.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not asking you to split the atom here. Just be nice. It's not hard. So bond condition will,
Sometimes it's very, very hard.
Ochoa Lacan.
Yes, Judge.
I'm letting pre-con know. So,
In what is it? It's 6:30, 3 hours. Judge Fleischer's coming on. And that's all we ask of people in chat is to be nice. Be nice. All you gotta do is be nice. I don't think we can go through 5 minutes of everybody just being nice. So, I mean, I wish people would be nice because that chat box is so, I mean, he can take it away anytime he wants to. Any second he wants to, he can take it away. People are not listening when we keep saying that. I mean, maybe since he took his stream down, I don't know. Maybe it'll be easier. I don't know. But hopefully, you are so nice. I don't even know if we ever deleted one of your comments, it was by mistake. We're not done yet, John. I'm just complaining about people not being nice in Judge Fleischer's chat because I'm scared it's going to get yeeted. I mean, we'll see. Whatever the judge wants to do, he's going to do. He's a big boy. He makes his own decisions.
he's in the jail docket? Yes, page 29, guys.
Oh, we do it all the time. We time people out all the time.
No drugs, no alcohol, random urinalysis. Alex, can you run his license to see if it's eligible or not?
Yes, Your
please? Whatever happened with the investigation that they were doing, do you know? With the interference?
I checked them, they didn't file anything, nothing new has been filed.
Alex, do we know anything about the investigation? Do we know any other further charges that are potentially going to be filed?
I don't see anything about the sexual assault investigation, so, and also his license is, I apologize, just closed out, not eligible.
I'm ordering you now not to drive. Your license has been suspended, probably due to the administrative license revocation hearing. So I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, Mr. Ochoa. You're not allowed to drive. Do you understand? We had them check in the system now with DPS to see if it's eligible or not eligible. And it is not eligible.
Judge has people log in from schools and things like that. So they would all have to become subs to be able to see. He wants it available for educational purposes. So there's a lot of DWIs in Judge Fleischer's court because he's the judge that handles them. And Houston is what, the 4th largest city in the United States. So with that many people, I mean, yeah, he handles the DWIs. That's why they're here. And a lot of domestic violence cases here too. He handles those.
And Your Honor, you are correct, it's the ALR suspension.
Do you understand? So if you drove here, you may not drive home. You've got to find someone else. Do you understand? You violate these conditions. Like I said, you're going to be signing an affidavit. This is a promise you're making to me not to drive. And I'm telling you, there's no better way to see me really get upset than to drive when there's a no driving affidavit. Do you understand? It is your responsibility to get with DPS to try to figure out how to get your license back. And if you do, and you get liability insurance, I'll take this off. But until that point, don't drive. So I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. We will have you sign a reset. After that, you'll get with pre-chopper your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Okay?
Judge, if I may, he is here this morning on the DWI. The interfering is set for Friday. Is there any way we can handle both of those today?
Have you come multiple days?
Okay.
Kidding, of course.
I was like, thank you, Judge. So
Yes.
are there gonna be different conditions for that or the same
No,
conditions?
it'll be all in one. That's why I was in the interference. I was wanting to see if there's a complaining witness to forbid him to have contact with, but it looks like the interference is just with an officer. So I'm not going to put any conditions on that one. Everything it just rides on the DWI. So you know what's expected of you. You're skirting thin ice. Be careful. That ice breaks. Okay. Now wait.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, take care.
Judge, can you do the PC form for the interference?
Oh, I didn't do it? Really?
Oh, the Boone trial had 10,000 in chat. Gotcha.
Morning, Judge. How are you doing?
Good.
We have Mr. Lorenzo Castillo on your docket this morning. Spoke with the state this morning. They are going to consider a counter offer of a deferred. They made an initial offer of a time served on this case. We'd like to try to get something worked out where he doesn't have to, I guess, fully take a conviction on his record for this.
How come no, Ms. Turner, I truly appreciate your tenacity. I really do. But the allegations to me are serious. And guys, keep it down, please. And I don't know if I'm ready.
Raven, he just yelled at you.
Because I don't want something to happen. It's too soon. It's too fresh. I don't want something bad to happen.
Is it possible for us to keep the address restriction and just do no threatening and harassing?
That's what I mean. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's what,
Because they have no contact at all if we do no threatening and harassing. They can still
don't
communicate,
have
but they,
contact. That's the point, is I don't want you to have contact with her. The allegations are serious. You allegedly threatened to choke, you allegedly threatened to kill the family, do it overseas, and it's in a repeated fashion.
she said today that that wasn't true.
That's
I don't
not what
know
I was
that.
told on the recall, sorry,
Okay,
that's not what I
okay.
was told on the recall. She said that those statements were prior incidences where he had made those comments, and that
Judge, did you see what she just did? Logan would have never done that. Pavel might have, but she just jumped in and started talking when it was not her turn. She just jumped in and started talking over her. And the judge didn't say, yo, shut up, it's not your turn. Who is this? What's her name? We don't know her because she's new. She's gonna have to learn.
the incident in question where he made the threat, the consequences of calling the police, she's claiming that he never made the gesture, but I don't have the body cams to watch it to see if that's actually what was said, which is why we're holding off on making a decision.
So what is your position? Your position is to keep no contact?
My position is no threatening or harassing. Based off of the complaint, it was very clear that she doesn't want the restrictions. And I think that they will contact each other anyway. So rather than setting the defendant up to violate his bond conditions.
No. There's no setting anyone up. We're clear what the consequence is if you try to have contact with her. Don't want you to have contact her for the time being now. I want you to appreciate the fact that you're not to have contact with her, and I'm warning you, don't do it. There will be severe consequence if you try to have any contact with her, if you try to use anyone to relay any kind of messages. If I deem you a public danger, Mr. Javed, I'm telling you now, I'm going to revoke your bond and I'm going to make it very high.
Sir.
Perhaps in time, yes, but the allegations are there. I find them disturbing and I don't want you to have contact with her. I know that your lawyer has really worked hard for it, so don't blame her. It has nothing to do with her. It's all to do with me. And I'm ordering you now not to have any contact with her. Do you understand?
Yes.
Don't blame her. If you want to blame anyone, you blame me. But for the time being, no means no. It doesn't mean maybe. It doesn't mean I've got kids. It doesn't mean I've got to get my car payment. It doesn't mean I got to get my house done. None of that makes a difference to me. My only concern is public safety. That's it. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm not ready yet. The allegations to me are very troubling. And I get the fact that people try to either renounce, mitigate, recant, but I'm not ready yet. I'm just not. In time, perhaps, because, I'm always willing in time to, modify. It's just too soon for right now.
Okay.
Are there any kids in the relationship now? Good, wonderful. So there's just no reason for you to have contact with this person for now. There's no reason. Don't. Time heals all wounds, and perhaps we can change it, but for the time being, no contact. Come back in a couple weeks, and then we can redo it. And then I want you also to give you guys sufficient time to do a full rip, take time to do it the right way. Not in a rush when you've got other a gajillion things going on as well. And I appreciate you really coming down to help out as well, okay?
Problem, and I'll make a
So-
note for Conrad to have a more
She
in-depth
came
discussion.
down to help out, which means she's from upstairs, which means she knows better. She is not an intern at all.
The other thing is I'd like to talk to her as well, before, because I'd like to talk to her to tell her that, the ramifications, not to ever feel any type of fear. No one, absolutely no one should have to live in fear like that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't,
I fear
I
my
mean,
cats.
imagine having
They're
to
gonna
walk
kill
on
me one day.
eggshells because of the fear that if you make someone mad, they're going to explode. No one should have to.
This is where they intern. That's why Logan left. That's why Pavel left. This is where they intern and then they move on to upstairs.
Live like that. So, and I'd like to impart that, that's it. All right, so, Mr. Turner, whatever reset you want, if you want to do a week, 2 weeks, whatever you'd like to do, I'm okay. I'm just not ready. And understand that just, I bet, that's probably not the same. Okay, all right, thanks. All right,
I'm making that note for Conrad now.
thank you. Hi, Council. Coming up. Hey, of course. Hey, what's new?
How are you?
Hey.
I didn't realize you
Hi.
had graduated for the holiday.
Yeah, so we're gonna expect you to be in costume in about, 2 weeks as well. We all will be.
I'm on call that week, so I told my second out if he wants to be Catwoman, I'll be Batman, but I don't know if we're gonna actually end up doing it.
And I'm already in costume. As. It's a good costume.
I'm faking it, Judge.
Who you got?
We have Mario de Jesus, I'm sorry, I lied, Horacio Vijaro.
It's a bond.
250-6632.
Dang, really?
Hi, Ramona. Look, she waved at me.
Do I need to sign this one too? No. Hi, good morning.
We need to approach on a motion with sub.
Okay, just,
Oh, I'm keeping her on because look at her hair.
it's on the docket today, right? Mr. Crozier has bond violations.
And he's
in custody now? Okay.
What do you want me to look up?
I'll sign your motion to sub. It's okay. Carlos Molina.
Does anybody remember if anything exciting happens this docket? I think it was like a Wednesday. So it was sort of in the middle of the week.
Me llamo Luis César, con mucho gusto. Hermanito, solo miro el puesto y le contestan nada más en español. Cualquier pregunta que tenga su licenciado. So, gracias.
His hair's kind of nice too.
Good morning, Mr. Molina.
Buenos días, señor.
So you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You're facing a year in jail and/or a court.
He's chewing gum. He's chewing gum hard. He's very, very much chewing this gum. He's the attorney.
$1,000 fine. You're also charged with theft. On that one, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and a $2,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're going to dismiss the theft in exchange for your plea on the DWI. You need to understand that the DWI will go on your record. It's going to be there forever. What do you think will happen if you got pulled over after a night of drinking and an officer sees a prior DWI in your record? What do you think is going to happen?
¿Qué cree que le pasará a usted? Regreso a la cárcel. I'd return to jail.
I would never, even if you've had one beer, get in a car because your record will kill you. And what we're doing today, you'll be facing a minimum of 90 days in jail if you ever pick up another DWI. Do you understand?
¿Entendió, señor?
No more proverbial slaps on the wrist. You're facing, like I said, up to a year. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 3 days in jail. Credit for the 3 days that you've done. It also says here $650 in restitution.
$657 en restitución, él ya pagó eso. Sí.
And that was on the theft case.
Y eso fue el caso de hurto, de robo.
Great. That's good. Good. I'm glad that you paid that.
Me alegra que lo haya pagado.
It's only fair.
Es solo justo.
Always the idea
Todo
here,
la idea
whenever
aquí,
there's someone that there's an alleged victim in a case, we want to make them whole again. And so thank you for doing this. That's great.
ahora sí se puede-
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record. You can never take it off.
de quitar.
Is this what you want to do?
¿Se desea hacer? Yes.
How do you plead to the offense, sir?
Se declara la ofensa. Lorenzo Castillo. Guilty.
I will find you guilty, sentence you to the agreement. I'm going to suspend your license for the minimum, which is 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license, otherwise you will be right back in here with us.
Señoría.
You can if you want, but you'll have to get the dates to them. Okay. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bring them out.
I got a plea and then two, CJ's case coming out.
I guess let's do the plea
Wait.
while they're bringing them up.
1A.
1A.
The end of hours.
Order in the court for plea.
We'll go right here. And that's, you don't have to put anything. She's gonna pay anything. We'll just have that.
Okay, okay, did you hear that?
First-
Stephen just yelled order in the court for a plea. Does that mean this is going on the record? It should go on the record, right? It's a plea. So where's Ramona?
So
Time served on the meeting, Judge.
what do you do with yourself these days, Ms. Swanee? Sorry? What do you do?
Work at Whataburger.
Okay. Are you sure you want to do this?
Guys, she works at Whataburger. We passed Whataburger, didn't we, Donald? We passed it in Houston on Tuesday, and there was no naked people. Whataburger, there were no naked people. We tried to look, and we also passed. Hold on, I got to get the picture so I remember what it's called. Cluck. It's a chicken place. Oh man, I take too many pictures, guys. It's a chicken place called Clutch City Cluckers. Clutch City Cluckers. That sounds like a good chicken place, doesn't it? Is it good? Whataburger had no naked people. She works at Whataburger. Probably not anymore, but it was exciting that we saw the Whataburger. We didn't. Clucking fantastic is what I thought too.
You realize it's going to go on your record.
Yes, sir.
You realize you're only making life more difficult for yourself, right? The more convictions you have, the more difficult you're making life. I mean, you need to understand that life doesn't get easier as you get older. It gets more difficult, and the more convictions you rack up, the harder life is. Just not many people are going to give you a job if you keep getting convictions. So no, I guess you don't want to do a deferred.
I asked her about it, Judge, and I told her that she could avoid the conviction. She didn't defer. She has no convictions that I saw. She said that she wasn't interested in that. I mean, if you're.
There is a type of probation that if you complete successfully, you don't end up with a conviction on your record. But that would be at a minimum, 9 months. You got to stay clean, no alcohol, no dope.
Order in the court.
You've no interest to try to keep this off your record?
Got a job to keep myself busy, so
Great.
I plan on staying out of trouble and staying out of the way.
But nevertheless, you're not interested in a probation to try to keep this off your record? Are you sure? Okay. You need to understand that this is going to go on your record. Once you plead guilty, you can.
None of those places have good burgers. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell doesn't have burgers. No. I mean, I think the best burgers in the United States are not chains. They're like everybody has the best burgers in town, and they're like local places. Our burgers are ridiculous where I work. Ridiculous. I can't imagine any other burger beating that. Red Robin has some good burgers. I don't think they're as good as like small restaurants though, that put their heart and soul into this burger. Bar burgers. Yeah. Yep. Local burgers. So a lot of places have the best burgers in the United States.
You can never change this. This is a lifetime decision that you make today. The other thing that you need to understand is that if you ever run from the cops again, because it's an evading arrest, which is an enhanceable offense, they can use, if you ever pick up another one, they can now make it a felony offense instead of a misdemeanor, because they can use this to enhance you. You understand? Okay. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, you can never change it. So are you sure you want to do this? There were no other offers, I guess, no PTI, anything like that?
No, Judge. The circumstances following the.
Okay. If you change your mind within 30 days, perhaps we can do something if you get buyer's remorse. Typically, but you got to understand, this is not a good day for you. This is not a good thing that's happening to you. You're only hurting yourself even more. Do you understand? Stop picking up convictions. Stop getting into trouble. All right, you know that from now on, it's a minimum of 90 days in jail. Minimum of 90 days for anything you pick up. All right, how do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty, sentence you to, is it 3 days?
2 days credit for 2 days.
Oh yeah, okay, 2 days in jail. Credit for the 2 days that you've done. I will roll your court costs so you won't know anything. Good luck to you, Ms. Warren. Okay. Thanks.
Raven, read that out loud to yourself. I'm going to read it out loud with you. I'm Kathy. Don't plead cite. Maybe I should put a bigger pause in because there is 3. All right. I'm Kathy. Don't plead cite. I need help. I need help. I don't understand the words. Don't plead. I got it. She's pleading. It's the cite that got me. So maybe it was just misspelled. Hey, Linus, how's your ankle? Is it still all swollen? All you base are belong to us. Guys, what's going on in chat? Are we all having strokes? Is this like a group stroke chat? Okay, see, this I understand. Swollen and blue, but less painful. So look at that. That's completely sigh. CJ, you're brilliant. You are so smart. Now translate this, CJ. All your base are belong to us. I just think that it's group stroke time. Everybody's having a stroke. Look, at least you formed a sentence. Oh, it's a meme. Are you sure that's a meme? Next time I make a mistake in a sentence, I'm going to be like, it was a meme. Because it worked. I believe him. I just believe him. Oh, wait. Now it's from a video game. I got your Safi. All right, all right, all right. Hold on. All right, please over. Oh, there we go. We got these two next.
Move up.
Type
You have
that
Mr.
in.
Gonzalez and Mr. Rubio, they're both, for waivers, Your Honor.
Okay. Gonzalez
This is
Rubio.
Gonzalez and Rubio. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I gave to.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Buenos días, señores. Buenos días. Good morning.
Both of you guys are wanted from other states, and you are being
Usted está haciendo.
Order in the court, please. I can barely hear the judge and I'm right in front of him.
you're being brought out because you guys are wanted for one reason or the other. You are Alejandro Gonzalez.
¿Ese es su nombre? Sí. Yes.
You're wanted for out of the state of California for receiving stolen property, motor vehicle, unlawful driving or taking of a vehicle, resisting, obstructing, delaying of a peace officer or EMT.
Demorando policía a un paramédico.
Are you waiving formal extradition?
¿Al señor?
Are you waiving formal extradition?
No, I just signed.
Did you want the 14 days for them to come pick you up?
14 días para que ellos vinieran a recogerlo a usted? Sí. Yes.
And you must waive formal extradition.
Extradición formal. Sorry, I didn't know. Usted ya habló con su abogado, señor.
I guess.
I just believe the way you're, and he's understanding the question is being lost in translation, Judge.
Pregunta.
Do you want me to ask him?
¿Quiere que yo le pregunte? Sí, mire a su abogado.
¿Vas a renunciar a pelear que te extradicen? No. ¿Sí o no? No es ok, es sí o no.
Eso, si digo sí,
es
lo
para
que
que te
te
vengan en 14 días.
Es lo que te sí.
You want to waive formal
¿Quiere renunciar a extradición formal? Sí. Yes.
Mr. Rubio, you are wanted out of the state of Tennessee for first-degree murder.
Asesinato capital.
Are you waiving formal extradition, sir?
¿Extradición formal usted?
Okay.
Hablar más fuerte.
Yes. Okay, guys, we wish you the best of luck. Take care, and we'll wait for the respective jurisdictions to come get you.
Thank you.
Las jurisdicciones a buscar.
All right, guys, we made it to the end. I'm still gonna kick out of that girl. When she was hearing her charges, she was moaning the whole time. Oh, 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 jeez. Then she said, man, that sounds really bad. No, it is really bad. It's very, very bad. Tokyo, you just gotta rewind it because that one, was it the third clip? The third clip is so funny. Judge Fleischer has his stream up. If you want more Fleischer, you can check him out on his stream. Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I have a really good video up. It's really good. I've never told you guys all this before. I never said, hey, you have to check out this video. But I don't understand. It's inmate in crisis. Can the judge stop the voices? And it's our grumpy judge. We love our grumpy judge. And it's the best. It's 28 minutes long. But it's getting 0 views. And I think it's one of my best videos ever, ever, ever. So if you have 28 minutes, once she gets through reading her letter, you got to listen to this woman. You just got to listen to her. It's unbelievable the way she describes what's going on. It's really good. Isn't it good, CJ? Doesn't it describe like mental issues so I don't even have the right word to describe how she described this. It was just really good. And it bombed. And that's a shame because it was really good. Yeah, it did get a lot of people in the fields. It did. But anyway, Thank you guys for coming out. I've off today. I love that fact. I'll see you in Judge Fleischer's courtroom there. I'll be working there. I got my coffee in front of me, so I'll make it. Or if not, Micah will be there. All right, guys. Behave, and I will see you in a couple hours, 2 hours maybe, depending on when he starts. Bye, guys.
Got these lights that close digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Her eyes mirror sky so blue. In her jokes there's a truth so true. With each string she brings the light, turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Streaming tales late into the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm.